Hi, everybody. This is Noelle from Petitti Garden Centers. We're here in Oakwood Village. And guess what? National Sunflower Day is coming soon. So we're going to do a real quick spotlight on sunflowers and false sunflowers and all that's in between. We'll talk about what they like. And hopefully you can celebrate National Sunflower Day with us. National Sunflower Day is always the first Saturday in August. I shouldn't say always, but it has started a few years ago. Sunflowers symbolize a lot of wonderful things for us, most of all happiness, loyalty, friendship. So there's lots of great things about giving and growing sunflowers out there in the garden. And the first one that we're going to talk about is your annual sunflower, which is Helianthus annuus. And that's like when you pick up a package of sunflower seeds and you go ahead and throw those in the garden, they'll grow up. All different varieties, of course, are available out there. But all of the Helianthus really started originally in Western US, maybe parts of Mexico, in the Great Plains. And they kind of naturalized over to this area. So they are considered a native R plant in Ohio now because it's been a real long time that we've grown them. And of course, birds and other wildlife have brought them to the state of Ohio. So that's always cool. It's always great to grow your sunflowers, of course, because they do attract quite a bit of pollinators, quite a few pollinators, I should say. And as I have a bee buzzing around my head, what you'll find is that with sunflowers in general, they produce a ton of pollen and also nectar for the bees. And you see some of the pollen here on this sunflower, and we'll talk about it in just a bit. And then, of course, the nectar is available for them. So we always need two of those food sources. Those are always good to have on your plants. Your pollen, of course, for the protein, your nectar for the carbohydrate. So that's always really good when your plants produce both of those things for the pollinators. And also, these plants are in the aster family. So we talk about the aster family, Asteraceae. It is a vast family. It's the daisy family. So again, anytime you find a daisy flower, that's always going to be really attractive to your pollinator plants. So do look for those out in the garden, grow those out in the garden. It's always a really nice thing to do. As far as your annual sunflowers are concerned, what do they like? They really like full sun conditions, so that 6 or more hours of sunlight. I have researched kind of through as we were thinking about doing this video, and a lot of people list them at 8 hours or more of sunlight. So they definitely want a good sunny area. And of course, if you can plant them in the south where they will see sun from sunrise to sunset, you will also see those young sunflowers turning. That is called heliotropism. That is a really cool way of them getting all the sunlight that they need moving through the sky during the day. It happens a lot when they're young. So your young sunflowers will definitely move with the sun, get as much energy as they possibly can gather. And that will work. As they get more mature, you rarely see them move through the day. They tend to face east. And of course, again, with the sunrise in the east, they are warming up quickly in the morning, attracting all of those pollinators and things and birds, of course, to their warmed up sunflower faces. So just be aware of that, if you don't see them turning anymore during the day, it's usually because they're pretty mature. So that's kind of how that works. I was going to say, so that's your sun. Soil, honestly, sunflowers grow really, really great and well-drained, but moist. So we talk about that sometimes. It's a little bit different. Well-drained, but moist, loamy soil. Guess what, folks? If you're growing around here in Northeast Ohio, we have to amend our soils in order to try to help with that loaminess, if you will. We have fairly heavy clay up by the lake. You might have some sand pockets, which is great, but always adding organic matter to the soil will help. So we always talk about things like sweet peat, manures, compost, all of those types of organic matters help with your soil drainage, your soil enrichment as well. So just keep that in mind when you're preparing the area for your maybe sunflower seeds or your sunflower plants, okay? Next thing that I wanted to mention was watering with them. And these plants are really, they have really good drought tolerance once they get established. So you just have to watch those first few waterings after planting. Make sure that they are watered well, watered deeply, and then wait just a few days to see if you see any wilting or anything like that. At the first sign of wilting, probably due to drier conditions and sunny conditions, go ahead and water them deeply again. Usually after the first 2 weeks, those roots will lock in, no problem. Typically when we plant the plants, we're gonna put biotone down in the hole, go ahead and place the plant in, backfill, and then go ahead and we'll put that kind of maintenance fertilizer around them. You can use the plant tone or iron tone combination, or you could use Osmocote. Either will work very nicely for them, kind of feed them. If you're planting in midsummer, that'll feed them for the rest of the season. You really don't have to worry about feeding them after that, okay? Let's see, fertilizer, since we were talking about fertilizer, it really just is maintenance fertilizer. So follow your package instructions, fertilize as you go through. They appreciate some fertilizer for sure, help maintain that growth, the foliage, the flowering, of course, throughout the plant. I did want to tell you with your annual sunflowers, boy, they make excellent cut flowers, of course, beyond their pollinator attraction, because they really do a nice job with that, but excellent cut flowers. And so you'll see plenty of market stands and things filled with cut sunflowers. They do really nicely. Your true annual varieties tend to lose that top flower. That's going to be, of course, your first flower that you'll always see. And as they start to kind of mature, and they'll lose their petals around the outside. So I wanted to show this one, and Taylor was like, maybe we should cut that off. And I said, I wanted to show folks that with your sunflowers, you'll keep your center eye, of course, because these tiny flowers in the center are still developing seed. And so, but on the outside, you'll start to lose the petals a little at a time. And that's real typical with your sunflowers, your annual types. With your perennial types, I'll mention in just a bit, they retain their petals, their rays. So it's still very, very attractive as they're trying to stay open for the pollinators and so forth, okay, and the birds and everybody else that enjoys them. So that's always a cool thing, okay? If you are harvesting for cut flowers, I wanted to mention really quickly again, morning. Try to harvest in the morning when that plant is fully moisturized. It's got a lot of water in its body. It's ready to go. Try to harvest early morning and you'll get them to stay much longer for you out there. And just go ahead and put them in some cool water, in a bucket of cool water, and arrange as needed, okay? As we continue on with the sunflowers, so we were talking about those annual sunflowers, something like this. This is the mammoth sunflower that we typically grow in our Angelo's Farm Market collection. So we'll grow it with our spring vegetables that you can obviously plant along with your vegetable growing out in your garden and so forth. You could grow these in containers as well. The taller sunflowers are always going to be better in the ground, anchored into the ground. Of course, shorter, more compact sunflowers are really good for container gardening, do very, very nicely. So it just kind of depends what variety you would prefer and what color you'd prefer, because goodness knows there are so many different varieties available out there. So just be aware of that. Typically, your germination on a nice, sunny, warm area where these are growing in a pot or in the ground, you're going to find they'll germinate in about 10 to 15 days. So they're very, very quick. And if you have some small chipmunks around or different rodents that tend to move seeds around and things, you'll find sunflower seeds kind of popping up all through the soil. If you feed the birds, they knock some of those seeds out of the feeder. You'll find those popping up pretty quickly through the early summer and through summer. Okay, so do keep that in mind. This sunflower that I have here, this bicolor, and then also this one, these are Sunfinity sunflowers. They are a hybrid. They are actually a cross between an annual sunflower Helianthus annuus, and then also a gray-leafed sunflower, okay? So they're a really, really cool hybrid that probably came into the gardening world, I would say a good 5 years or so now, where we have grown these, and they are really a cool plant to grow. If you're into sunflowers, do try these. I have Sunfinity Dark Eye, and I just kind of waved off, there are bees all over these guys. So there's sweat bees, there's hoverflies, there's honeybees, just so you're aware. They really are attractive to the bees, especially for the nectar. So this is Dark Eye or Dark Center rather, sorry. And this one's called Bicolor, Sunfinity Bicolor. And these plants as hybrids are really not supposed to develop seed. They are sterile for the fact that we've talked about this before, that when your plants are bred to be sterile, they don't put energy into the seed development, they put energy into the flower development. So with Sunfinity flowers, you get about 4-inch wide flowers, and they keep blooming and blooming and blooming. With your typical annual sunflower, that top flower blooms and basically blooms out. You might get some side shoots that are much smaller here and there, but honestly, that's about it. That energy is going towards that sunflower seed production, okay? With these guys, you can see right below this main flower here, and it's doing really, really well. It is producing some pollen, but right underneath, look at that. There is a new bud ready to go, not 2 inches beneath that first flower, and so on and so on. So as you continue to cut back or deadhead these flowers, occasionally you will find that more buds will produce underneath. Sunfinities usually grow about, I'd say about 40 inches in the garden, maybe a little bit more, maybe 4 foot, around there, just around there, 4 foot, and then about 2 to 2.5 foot wide out in the garden. So they do take some space. It's always good to get some good air circulation around them. Obviously doing great in any type of landscape to attract your pollinators, your birds, and whatnot, okay? Here's another thing about Sunfinity. They're an excellent cut flower, so you can cut these stems even longer if you want to. They will last in an arrangement as well. They're just a little bit smaller than your standard, but would last longer, again, because they're not producing or not pulling energy towards that seed development, okay? Again, beautiful varieties. You might see a doubled variety with Sunfinity. We also have grown a similar series called Suncredible from Proven Winners. So again, there's some series out there now. They're developing more varieties, more color, that type of thing. And boy, the foliage stays fairly good as far as cleanliness. You don't see a ton of powdery mildew on these plants. They tend to stay fairly clean for you. So again, great annual sunflower varieties that you can grow and enjoy for a longer time, typically blooming anywhere from June through September. Typically there's a little hoverfly, typically about a 12-week or so bloom time overall for one of these plants. So do be aware of that. There are wonderful, wonderful varieties out there that you can take advantage of. The last part of this that I wanted to show you was the perennial sunflower. This is a native plant to Ohio. It, again, is attracting a lot of little pollinators there. So I see some sweat bees on that flower and so forth. And this is what we call Heliopsis helianthoides. So we do have a separate plant spotlight on Heliopsis. So really quickly, they like a lot of the same things that your annual sunflower does, except those guys are really, really drought tolerant once established. So they do really, really nicely in gardens for us in the full sun conditions again. And I'll tell you, these flowers last a very, very long time. There are a few different varieties here. I have Burning Hearts, which is that bicolor variety. When it's young, it has the orange eye, yellow petals, darker foliage, dark stems, really attractive, great cut flower as well. Down below, you see a variegated variety that hasn't started blooming yet. This is called Sunstruck. So if you need something that has kind of a very unique variegation to it, Sunstruck is a really pretty one. Big yellow flowers, probably about 2.5 inches in width. I do have some smaller varieties that, I should say shorter varieties, because Burning Hearts, again, probably 3 to 4 foot tall when it grows in the garden. Sunstruck, this one is Sole de Arancia. Sorry, I probably killed that, but that is Italian for orange sun. And then I also have another one down here that's called Punta Rosso. That's just starting to come out and bloom for us. So these are a little bit shorter, more compact varieties, maybe 1.5 to 2 foot tall in the garden, maybe about 1.5 wide in the garden. Again, more perennial sunflowers. Some people call them false sunflowers. Some people call them oxeye daisies, but all really, really nice. Great for your pollinators. Great to plant and celebrate, of course, National Sunflower Day. Enjoy.